On behalf of the Marian Alumni Association Kutikanam, MAC, and the Career and Professional Development Wing, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this evening's webinar on shaping your unique advantage in a competitive world. I'm Ashley Joshi, your host for the evening, and it's an honor to be part of this initiative that unites the Marian community in learning, growth, and shared inspiration. Each MAC event reminds us that the Marian spirit goes beyond the campus. It's a lifelong bond of excellence, humility, and connection that continues wherever we go. Before we move forward, let's take a moment to acknowledge and warmly welcome the dignitaries and guests joining us this evening. We are privileged to have with us Dr. Ajimon George, Principal of Marian College Kutikanam. Along with him, we have the esteemed members of the Marian Alumni Association Kutikanam, Mr. Joji Sebastian, the President, Mr. Dario EP, Vice President, Mr. Balu Krishna, Secretary, and Dr. Steffi K. Jose, Director of the Career and Professional Development Wing. We also extend a warm welcome to all the executive and governing body members of MAC for their constant encouragement and contributions. And of course, a very special welcome to our distinguished resource person for the evening, Mr. Twinkle Abraham, whose inspiring journey truly reflects the Marian ideals of leadership and lifelong learning. Before we proceed, let me take a brief moment to introduce our speaker for the evening, Mr. Twinkle Abraham. Mr. Twinkle Abraham is an accounting and finance professional, ERP consultant, and leadership trainer with over 15 years of professional experience across financial management, business operations, and education. He currently serves as the accounting and business manager at ATMC USA and has previously worked with reputed organizations such as Truebell and HMG Properties. A proud Marian alumnus, he has also served as a lecturer at Marian College Kutikanam, guiding postgraduate research projects and inspiring students through his academic excellence and leadership. We are truly honored to have him with us today to share his insights on building one's professional edge into an evolving world. To formally commence this evening's proceedings, we are delighted to welcome Ms. Marin Jose, Assistant Professor at Pavanatma College, Murikasheri. Ms. Marin Jose is a proud Marian alumna who, during her college years, was an active participant in numerous academic and cultural initiatives, embodying the true Marian spirit of involvement and excellence. Continuing that same passion for growth and learning, she now balances her career in academia while pursuing her research, contributing meaningfully to the world of education and leadership. We are truly privileged to have her with us today. Over to you, Ms. Marin.
Thank you, Ashley. Good evening to one and all. Today, we are here not just to learn, but to connect, explore new ideas, and chart the path forward together. I am directly stepping into my duty of welcoming all the esteemed participants to this thought provoking webinar. First of all, I welcome the visionary leader and the backbone of Marian College Kutikanam, none other than Professor Dr. Ajimon George to this webinar. I cordially welcome Mr. Joji Sebastian, President, Mr. Dario Ebi, Vice President, and Mr. Balu Krishna, Secretary of Marian Alumni Association to this gathering. I extend welcome to the governing body members and executive committee members of Career and Professional Development Wing of Marian Alumni Association. A warm welcome to all the participants who are eagerly waiting to hear from the resource person. The resource person for the day is Mr. Twinkle Abraham, CMA MBA. Currently, he is serving as the accounting and business manager at ATMC USA and as an EPR consultant. He brings over 15 years of diverse experience in financial management, business operations, and education. A passionate trainer in leadership and public speaking, he continues to inspire students and professionals. Welcome, sir, to this webinar. Thank you for joining us. Your presence here makes this more than a webinar. It makes it a community in motion. Thank you and have a nice time ahead. Over to you, Twinkle sir.
Thank you, Ashley and Marin. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to connect with all of you today and to spend some time. A special thanks to our dear Ajimon sir and MAC President Joji, dear Dario Balu, and Steffi, the MAC Career Wing Director, for this invitation, and all my dear friends. And I'm so excited to spend this time with all of you, sharing and learning. So let's get started. So today's topic is shaping your unique advantage in a competitive world. I'll be going through this particular topic under three different headings. The first question is why. Why means why there is a need for us to look at our competitive edge. Second question is what, which means what is that we should look at? Our strengths, our weaknesses, our skills, our competencies. And the last part is how, which means the word, the key word, the action word, shaping. So today's session, I'll be just covering these three specific questions. And as you're aware, we have a lot of literature available related with professional development, skill development. So I'll be using one specific framework which is used in industry, that is strategic management. So when I'm presenting this particular topic under strategic management, I wish to give a personalized touch through sharing some of my experience, because I believe the theoretical aspect will remain as theory until we practice it and until we personally experience it. So I personally wish I share some of my personal experience, the kind of maybe challenges or struggles I faced as a student, as a professional at the start of my career, and then how I was able to progress in my career, and then so using that framework. So that is the basic nature of this particular presentation. And as you're aware that I'm basically an accounting and finance professional, so most of my examples will be related with this specific field, but I know students, the professionals are from different field. So you can, of course, will be able to relate that experiences in your specific context. So this will be the basic nature. So let me start with our session officially. Once again, thank you and welcome to this webinar. Shaping your unique advantage in a competitive world. As I explained, these are the three specific questions which we'll be addressing today. Why? The need for a unique advantage. What? Defining your unique advantage. And then how? That is the action word, as I said, shaping and developing your advantage. I just came across this particular news item. Please have a look at that. What is it written? IBM fired 8,000 workers using AI and then ended up hiring even more. We're starting to identify what is the need for a competitive edge for a professional. They fired 8,000 workers, but there's a positive note after that, then ended up hiring even more. Okay, we're trying to address an answer for this during this webinar. Let me proceed with the next. Why? The need for a unique advantage. Before going through these specific topics, let me share one of my experience. So very recently, I was part of a project in one of the company in Phoenix, Arizona, in USA. So the company is into industrial engineering, and they were using a server-based ERP system, the local server-based ERP system. So the company went through two important uh, life event. Just like a human being, organizations also will pass through some of the life event. And the two important life event, one was a merger. So this industrial engineering company, which has locations across the different states in the USA, they acquired another company, and that is into uh, vehicle repair, like mobile truck repair. Simultaneously, they wanted to upgrade to cloud-based ERP system, and that's where I was involved in that particular project. When we are starting this particular project, the company has got almost 27 team members in their finance and accounting department. When we completed the project, the number got reduced to 7. So now the company is able to process their finance function with 7 in the place of 21. So I'm not going to into those details why some of those staff members lost their employment, but I really wanted to focus on what was the competitive edge for this 7 employees who were able to retain their position in the company when the company went through this drastic change, or when the company went through this life event. So to all my dear friends, as a students or professional, just wanted to give you one small idea. 20 years before, 25 years before, if you get a degree and if you are landing in a job, that degree, that information was enough for us to have to continue to grow and retire after 30, 35 or 40 years of service. That information, that skill set was enough. But now we are living in a world which is making some of the existing skills, existing competencies obsolete. And it's not just after 5 years or after 6 years. We are seeing these changes happening within 6 months or less than a year. So I'm trying to establish the need here. First one is technological transformation. Let us go back to the previous question. Why IBM in 2023 terminated some employees, 8,000, and now they're hiring some more employees? You all know, because of the AI, the artificial intelligence. 3 key words now IBM is using. They are now not offering traditional technology services. 3 key words were introduced by them. One is cloud computing. Second one is enterprise automation. And the third one is cyber security. So AI was not replacing some of the job, but it was reshaping some of the job. Please pay attention to that word. The jobs and the roles are now got reshaped. So this is something which is related to the technological transformation. Second one is the mergers, acquisition, and business consolidation. We're hearing a lot of news about startups from Bangalore. But if you're looking at the history of that, most of these startups, the promoters are able to sell it for 1 million, 2 million after a short period of time, because the role of small and medium-sized companies, they are just fading away. They are being absorbed by the large players. So these mergers and acquisitions and business consolidation is again creating another important challenge. It's creating a need for us to identify our unique advantage. Next is globalization and cross-border operations. Companies these days, they work across the borders. What is the challenge of that? Yeah, they are being influenced by the tax laws of different organizations, different countries. They need better services, technology-oriented services. We are talking about cultural shift, and we are talking about the importance of having a new skill set that is related with cultural literacy. How we manage the global culture when we get exposed to a global culture, how we manage that cultural shock. This is something which is now adding as an important competency. Workforce and work environment transformation. Especially after the COVID, we are increasingly seeing a change that is related with hybrid role. We need to understand how the personality of an employee is affected, especially if he's an introvert, he may be an extrovert. These two types of people will be affected two different ways when they are working hybrid or when they are working remote and they're working in person. Your personality will be having a great say whether you'll be able to work with under supervision or without supervision. Emergence of new industries. Recently, there are news that there are a lot of retail shops are getting closed down. Why? They are moving all to online platform, online sales sites. That is again another challenge to the workforce. And very recently, there is a new concept got introduced, especially for the accounting professionals. We are not just limited to accounts, basic technical reporting of balance sheet, P&L, and the consolidated reporting. Nowadays, companies are increasingly required to report integrated reporting. That is, they need to identify what is the impact, the business impact on the environment, business impact on the society, and the business environment impact on the governance. Prior to this, most of the companies, their basic goals are profit maximization, sales maximization, revenue maximization, cost reduction, efficiency improvement. No, now the role or their goals are changing, their objectives are changing. And what is required for an employee? There is an increased requirement for employees with green skills. That means the persons who can understand the impact of the company and they can report the impact of the company on ESG, environment, society, and the governance. So I was just explaining some of the things which are making the changes. So this is our competitive environment. Now, this is a chat question for all of you. You may be a student or you may be a working professional. Can you please type which skill in your field is becoming less relevant today? Can you please, in the chat box, can you please type in? Which skill in your field is becoming less relevant? The skill, it may be a domain knowledge. It may be related with a specific technological knowledge. It may be, if for an IT field, it may be a specific language or so, whatever it is. So what can you please identify one skill which is now becoming less relevant? you know, 2 days before, I just went through, I was just scrolling through Facebook. Again, there are some smart leaders in the world. They're always bringing new and new challenges. So I'm into, as I said, ERP integration. So I was just waiting to see how AI is shaping the jobs. And 2 or 3 days before I see this particular news, quantum computing is now being tested out. Okay, now that is going to improve the power of computing. And within few years, we are going to see AI getting integrated with quantum computing, which is going to revolutionize many more industries. So again, another important evolving skill. So when you join an organization like that, or when you join an institution for a first-year degree, when you move to the second year, you will see a different skill sets that industry is getting reshaped. And when you complete the degree, you will see the world is completely different. The way the processes were done is different. The way the companies and organization function, it is different. And this is the speed at which we will see an existing skill set become obsolete and the new skills are evolving. So I was using the first portion just to make you understand this is the need for evaluating our own skill sets and identifying our own competency. Until and unless we feel there is a need, we may not have that motivation or inspiration to do the exercises which we are going to see in the next stages. I'm trying to give you an example of accounting skills. I'm working in the ERP segment. We know prior to maybe 5 years before, for an accountant, the basic skill or the main competency, when he's looking at one transaction, he's able to judge, okay, whether that is an asset or liability, whether that is an expense or an income, or that is an equity related transaction, and identify what is the debit and credit. Based on that, prepare the trial balance, prepare the P&L, prepare the balance sheet, consolidate the report, do the profit and loss analysis or variance analysis, and present ratio analysis and financial analysis, and give a report to the management. All these specific activities within accounting are now automated. That doesn't mean that you do not require this information or domain knowledge. What I'm trying to say is that is now not a competency for an accountant. Before, one skill set which is considered as a competency, which can give you a competitive edge, is now no more a competency or a competitive edge. I'll give an example. The recent project which I undertook, we were using QuickBooks Online. That is connected with the bank. And there is a rule-based categorization. So based on the description, the QuickBooks will post all the entries. Same way, if an invoice or an expense bill, a vendor bill that can be scanned directly, a person need only a scanning skill, straight away the debit and credit will get posted. Same way, if the operations team who is invoicing, who's taking a purchase order, doing an invoice, the moment an invoice is generated in a different ERP system which is connected to this accounting module, the system will auto-generate a journal entry accurately crediting sales and the cost of sales. So what I'm trying to say, no, automation is taking place on repetitive work, routine work, the work which can be standardized. You need this domain knowledge as an accountant or a finance professional, but at the same time, you cannot depend on those skills as a competency, which can give you a competitive edge. So I hope you went through the other items. I'm not going through those details, but in summary, the AI and this automation, these two concepts and cloud computing, that is revolutionizing not just accounting field, whether it is supply chain management, whether it is marketing management, whether it is customer management or human resource management, and of course, the IT fields which are related with this, these are now getting changed. Some of my friends who are working in the IT, they say that the basic coding, there are various AI-based softwares available which can even do the basic coding. But at the same level, higher level, the testing of that, of course, there is a human involvement is required, and that's the area where you need to focus more on. That's my point. My next question, I don't know how many of you are responding because my screen I'm not able to see, but if you can just note down, what's one strength that people often appreciate in you? Is there something which your friends used to say that, okay, you're good at that, okay? You get frequent compliments. If you are thinking about some particular task, everyone approaches one person. So if you have identified one such strength, I would appreciate if you can just type it down in the chat box. The next question is defining your unique advantage. Every individual, your skill set, your knowledge, your personality, and your situation is unique. That is something which is giving you that unique advantage. You need not have to be worried about what is happening in the overall industry, what is happening in that company, what is happening in this company. Of course, you should evaluate the changes which are taking place in the business environment. But at the same time, each one of you You have a unique space. So let that sink in. You have a unique space. It's not always the domain knowledge which makes a difference for a person. I said 7 of them were retained in the company, right? Don't think that all 7 of them had very high IQ or very high knowledge about accounting. It may be sometimes they feel like he may be a team player. He may be able to have a better communication with other team members and across different functions. That may be a person's strength, which may be evaluated by a company. Good interpersonal skill, there are many transferable skills. It's not just the domain knowledge. That's what I'm trying to focus on. So it's important for you to identify what is your unique advantage. At this point, I really wanted to share an important concept. That concept is called the value. Many times we feel I have got a lot of talents, I've got a lot of skill set, I got very high marks for my degree, I have got multiple certifications. These may not give you a competitive edge based on the value perception. I'll give you a small example. You know, uh, as Ashley mentioned, I worked in Marian College almost for 2 years as a lecturer, and then I moved to Kuwait. So, of course, from a teaching background, when you move to another place, and you may not be able to get a direct entry to the corporate world, right? So, I was interviewed by a person called Sunny, and he is famous for some one reason. He's named like Toyota Sunny. There is one movie related with him. He based on his role during the Kuwait invasion by Saddam. So during that time, he helped to bring many Indians. So I was interviewed by this Toyota Sunny. He has got many educational institutions. And during that interview, I just shared some of my experiences working in Mariam. And I gave some small idea that, okay, I was also part of some projects. I was heading the National Service Scheme. And as part of that project, we launched a program called Miss a Meal. All the staff and students, they skip meal and they can't, and that way we were able to mobilize some fund, and we were able to construct a house in Kanjiripalli. So when I was talking about this particular project, and at the time of concluding the meeting, he just asked me one question. Twinkle, we have a project. You have to work with British Council to bring IGCSE syllabus to our school. We have around 200 teachers. You should evaluate their IT literacy, provide them training, and we're going to change all the classrooms to smart classrooms. You should get all the licenses required for doing this IGCSE in our school. Can you take up this project? This was the question. I said yes. And then I was appointed as the administrator. We were able to successfully implement that particular project, and I was happy. But I'll tell you the truth. When I said yes, I had no clue about IGCSE syllabus. I had no clue about the licensing requirement of British Council. I had no clue about how big is this campus, how many teachers, what is the literacy level, when and how I'm going to complete the training. But there is something in my mind. He's asking me a question which is related with my field. Though I do not know, but this is from my experience, I'm telling you, my dear friends, when you get such a question, such an offer, say yes, learn it, then do it. Please never forget this. If you're getting a question on a related field, say yes, learn it, and then do it. And that's what I really did it. But if he's asking me, can you just develop a programming, a computer software for doing that? Of course, that's a no. But the other side, when you say yes, that makes a lot of difference, and that's how I was able to get into that post of an administrator. What I was trying to say, my skill set, like leadership skills or project management skills or teaching ability or training ability, these skill sets got a value just because that organization at that point of time needed those values or those particular skills, those particular competencies. There is a smart saying in marketing. When you compare a product and a professional service, you should not just focus on your skills, your abilities, your talents. You should always focus on how the skills, the leadership or communication or your domain knowledge provide a solution to a customer's problem. When you're able to find a proper match, that is the time you are going to recognize the value for you as a professional. Many a time, people are dissatisfied when with a lot of talents, people will be forced to work in some areas which are not actually matching, or those where their skill set is not matching with the requirement of the company. So if that was an educational institution, if they just hired me as a teacher, my earning potential will be less. I will never be an administrator. I will continue to teach. They just need only my teaching skills. But if they need my project management skill, if they need my leadership skill and training skills, they needed that at that point of time. And that's why I was able to explore the value for those skill sets within me. So this is something which we should always remember when you're trying to identify your competitive edge. So in the beginning, I mentioned that we'll be going through a particular framework. This is a framework which is used by business houses: the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. At different stages of your life cycle, when you're moving companies, when you're just moving to a different country, this is something which you should do. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and explore the opportunities and threat which are external, which are beyond your control. So after working as an administrator in that educational institution, I moved to the corporate world. Then I just started working as an accountant, senior accountant, and the head of the department for finance in one company. And that was a time in 2020, I have to move to USA. Let me tell you some of the strategies or some of those my experiences. The first thing I did, let me identify my strengths and weaknesses when I'm making this move to USA. I know my strength is the ERP knowledge. I know my strength is my sound accounting knowledge, but there is a weakness. That weakness is I have no exposure to taxation. The reason is in Kuwait, we have no tax, no sales tax, no payroll tax, so no corporate tax. After that, maybe VAT got introduced to the UAE and other Gulf countries, but in Kuwait, it's zero tax. So I do not have any exposure in taxation. So when I'm moving to USA, if I'm exploring some possibilities in working in the finance field, here there are payroll tax, there are sales tax, there are corporation, federal tax, state tax. So tax component, it's a heavyweight item for that. So that's a weakness. So that's first thing. Second, opportunities and threat. I'm moving in the year 2020. The specialty of the year 2020. When I reached US, I think by March 3rd, 2020, and that March, we had, after 2-3 weeks, everything got closed down. COVID death. Companies, they are actually reducing their workforce. But before moving to USA, I made a smart move. I just try to understand which is the ERP system mostly used by the small and medium scale companies in USA. And then that was QuickBooks Online. So what I did, I just did a course on that, and I got a certification for QuickBooks Pro Advisor. It's again a cloud-based ERP system. When I moved to USA, most of the companies, they started making this finance function totally remote. And the companies which were able to do this, offer this remote work, was based on this cloud-based ERP system. So COVID, though generally we can consider it as a threat, for me, that was an opportunity. So that a business environment, an external environment, considered as a threat for many in my unique situation, just because I had that certification on QuickBooks Online, it becomes a threat. Sorry, it becomes an opportunity. And I got the job, and I'm working in that company for the past 5 years. So this is how you are evaluating your strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threat to get a competitive edge. But as I pointed out, there is a solid weakness for me at that time that was related with the tax. So after reaching here, I did some special extra certifications to get some coverage for the tax aspect, but I know that was not my core strength. My core strength is my accounting knowledge. My core strength was my ERP knowledge. My core strength is helping the companies in improving their policies and procedures. And after COVID, more and more companies, they started moving from the server-based systems to cloud-based system, and that really opened the opportunities for me. So if you're really looking at doing your own personal SWOT analysis, I would say when you join an organization, when you start your first year degree, do a SWOT analysis. After every 2 years or every year, do a SWOT analysis. When you're planning to make a move from one company to another, do a SWOT analysis. This is going to make a huge difference in understanding your skill set. So this is something which you can work on, identifying the strengths and skills, and then how that opportunities and weaknesses can be modified, and you can overcome those weaknesses so that you can explore and take advantage of some of the opportunities outside. You all may have a list of your assets, right? Your bank account, you may have some share, you may have some investment mutual fund, real estate, some gold. So usually in an Excel sheet, you used to keep a track of all your asset. And against that, you may have written the value against all of these assets. Very recently, we know the last 1 year, gold price has gone up just like anything. We are all waiting for touching it 1 lakh. Same way like stock market, there may be some movements. So there are some solid assets where you may not see much appreciation, but there is less risk. Same way, in an Excel sheet, I would suggest you to prepare a skills inventory. That is the first step towards identifying your unique advantage. It may be your work experience. If you're a student, you may be associated with some club, some organization, some leadership role. These are all very, very relevant. You please don't participate in a club without understanding what is that the real benefit of participating in a club. You do a lot of planning, you do a lot of organizing, you do a lot of directing, you manage people, you communicate with the different departments, with teachers, with students for organizing. These are making a large scale impact on your personality. So I want you to identify each of these specific skill sets and do a self-evaluation where you stand. So it's not just with work experience. This can be done by students. Maybe as part of your projects or internship, you're involved in some activities, some domain knowledge related, technology related. Identify and just present everything in an Excel sheet. Your extra licenses, your qualification, your soft skills like communication or your leadership or interpersonal, list down, because these are very important. Even if technology is changing, your transferable skills will give you a solid foundation for your growth, because none of those technological changes can take away the human factor. So even if the technological changes are there, we need people who are really passionate about interacting with human beings. So that is going to be the real competitive edge for in a technology-driven business environment. And then the hard skills. I just give a warning to the accounting and business studies related students. Remember to gain some solid foundations on your technology-related skills, ERP-related skills. Next is the skilled hobbies, if you're part of that. So list down everything. That is the first step for the skills inventory. So in between, we have a chat question. If your professional journey were a brand, what would your tagline be? Very simple question. So as we are running short of time, I'm just leaving it there. Okay. I'm just trying to make you understand one important concept. The previous slide, I asked you to list down all of your skills, right? Your skills may be a capability, it may be a competency, it may be a core competency. For example, for an accounting professional, bank reconciliation, okay, for in your degree class, I still remember we get a question paper. There will be around 10 transactions. If I'm able to arrange all these and get a correct bank reconciliation done on that 10 transactions, I get full mark. I get a degree certificate, and I'm so proud. I feel I'll just put in my CV, what is your skill? Bank reconciliation. Fine. Okay, good. But is that a competency? Is that a core competency? I'll just explain it in this way. How the skill should grow as a competency and core competency. Can I do bank reconciliation for 100 line items for an organization? Can I do the bank reconciliation for 5 different banks for one organization, which may be running to 1,000 line items? Can I do a bank reconciliation for a group of companies which may be having multiple companies, and that has got intercompany transactions, which is running to, again, multiple branches, multiple bank accounts, multiple lines of transactions? Again, can I do this bank reconciliation for an enterprise level company which is having operations across the globe in an ERP system? You got the difference now? We think I understood the concept of bank reconciliation when I complete a degree with 10 transactions, with getting full marks, even with a rank. But when it comes to the industry, the dimensions are changing. For completing a bank reconciliation, you need to interact with almost all the different departments, with AP, with AR, with fixed assets, with payroll. So your coordination and communication skills with these departments are important. You should have sound ERP knowledge to take care of the bank reconciliation. You need to have that managerial skill. So that's how, after listing down all of the skills, the next level, you should identify which of these skills should grow to a competency level or core competency level. Something which is very important. So the last part of this discussion, that is how. It's very easy for me to help you to identify, okay, these are my skill sets. Now I identify these are the skill sets which should grow to competency and core competency. But the question is how? How is this possible in an organizational setup? I'll give an example. So let me go back to my experience. I said I was working with an education institution as an administrator. But I wanted to start my accounting career in a corporate world. But how is this possible? My skill sets are different, right? The importance of reskill. When I was working as an administrator in that education institution, I got involved in the finance function there. I found, because at that particular position, I was able to get into their daily operations. I tried to understand how they are processing the AP, the AR, how they're preparing the balance sheet, how they are preparing the profit and loss. Those were not my core areas. I was ready to spend that extra time on that to understand how our educational institute, though the finance function was completely different, my administrative role was nothing to do with it, but I got involved to learn how it is working. This is the importance of reskill. If you are planning, if you feel that, because I knew in that educational institution, I have reached a saturation position. There is no more growth, because that's where maximum I can grow. But if I switch to a corporate career, accounting career, then sky is my limit. So I used that opportunity to get reskill, which means enter from the teaching to accounting. Based on that, I got into the next company where I was exposed to the as an accountant and as a senior accountant. So that is the importance of reskill. Next is upskill. So I joined the second organization. That was a Kuwait Stock Exchange listed company. But I wanted to get solid foundation on a company and how that company interact with the auditors. You know what I did for upskill? Usually, there is no extra payment for supporting the audit work. I said, I will be the contact person for the audit work. Everyone in the team, the accounts team, they were happy because this is an extra load. You need to work extra hours. I said, I'm willing. You know why? because I know that is going to give me access to all the modules of the ERP system and all the documentation. My experience with that auditors that lasted for almost 2.5 months, that gave me actually solid knowledge related with accountancy. So this is an example for upskill. Next is cross skill, which means from accounting knowledge, you are trying to get some additional knowledge which can complement your work in accountancy or finance. So I required an ERP level knowledge. I made my next move. You know that what was a challenge for that company? The project which was given to me was, we are a property management company, HMG Properties. It's a Kuwait-based company. They were having investments in the USA. They were maintaining all the records on an Excel sheet, P&L, trial balance, everything. So they said, we're going to have a new ERP system. We will give you 6 months time and a team. Can you bring all this data to this ERP system? You define and design the chart of accounts and get this audit done by EY. This was a task given. Quite naturally, I said yes. I started learning that ERP system. We completed the task by 5 months' time, completed the audit. That gave me the confidence. I just worked in that company for 1 year. That gave me the confidence to move to the next company as the head of finance department. So from the administrator to the head of the finance department, that took just 2 years of accounting experience. Because at every point of time, I focused on reskill, upskill, and cross skill. So this is my experience, and this is my advice to everyone who is hearing me. In this world, it's very important for you to focus on these 3 words: reskill, upskill, and cross skill. The importance of the capabilities, competencies, and core competencies, how for an accounting function, how it is growing. And this is just an example, so you don't have to go into those details. Now the question is, how can you identify the areas where we should go for reskill or upskill? And you please do a professional value check. And this is how a matrix you can create. You identify the skill or competency. You please rate it based on your current proficiency. As I said, the value is not decided by you, the value is decided by the market. So when after evaluating your current competency, the next thing is you find out what is the market demand for that competency. If that is obsolete, then there is no point in spending extra time or taking an action plan for the skill development, right? But if this is important, then of course you can start with a timeline and a target date. Here, I really want to give an example. So you think, okay, it's very easy to say that I'm setting a target and then you work for it and then you complete it. Oh, these are very great philosophical statement. Whether this is going to work, I'll give me an example. I told you that I moved to US in 2020. There was one to-do list for me. That is, you work for a CMA certification. But when 2020 something happened, it's not something happened. That was the time I crossed a specific age bar. That means 40. So I started thinking, oh my God, I'm now above 40. So I cannot learn just like how I prepared during my school, college days. Every day, I think, I have to do CMA. Then I will have this negative thought process. I don't think I'll be able to do it. And, it lasted 4 years. 4 years, I'm thinking, then I'll think I should do all my certificate translation to equivalency translation. How am I going to do it? It's not possible. So this was my thought process almost for 4 years. Something happened in 2024. 2024, I got an opportunity to work as the director of MARC Career and Professional Development Wing. The first thing which I did on the inauguration of MARC Career and Professional Development Wing, the same day, I just stopped my thinking process. I just registered for CMA exam. And every month, we organized a Career and Professional Development Wing training session every month. That was my motivation. I pay attention to these training sessions, and I'm telling you, for that last 1 year, from 2024 to 2025, June, July, I was surrounded with these keywords: professional development, skill development, competencies. Let's have webinar. Let's have career development. These keywords really help me to remain motivated to complete that. And when I completed our career wing activities for the last year, August, I received my CMA certification. I just wanted to give you this small example. You know, these sessions will just finish within few minutes. But if you want to make a change in your life, I want you to take an action. Stop thinking. Just work, start working on it. Get surrounded with people who will act as the real motivating forces for you. And that's going to help you. So let me just conclude. So we have seen why there is a need for looking at your competitive edge. Your competitive edge is not static. It's now ever evolving. Now, importance is continuous learning, and the comfort with ambiguity is becoming the evolving competencies. What who thrive are those who continuously restate their competencies to align with the future of work. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Twinkle Sir, for that incredibly insightful and forward thinking session. Your talk truly gave us a refreshing perspective on how cloud computing and artificial intelligence are not here to replace human potential, but rather to reshape the way we work, enhancing creativity, strategy, and problem solving skills. For many of us, especially the upcoming graduates and professionals who are navigating the evolving marketplace, your words served as both a wake up call and a motivation to continuously learn, adapt, and grow. We sincerely appreciate the depth of experience, clarity, and encouragement you brought to today's discussion. We'll now open the floor for a short Q&A session. If anyone would like to ask a question or share a reflection with Mr. Twinkle Abraham, please feel free to unmute and speak, or you may drop your question in the chat box. Anyone to come up with questions? So, if we are good, it's time to extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event possible. To deliver the word of thanks, we have with us Ms. Rani Manuel, a proud Marian alumna from the 2006-2009 BCA batch. Ms. Rani is currently serving as an assistant manager at Devon Foods, Etumanur, and has been an active and supportive member of the Marian alumni community. Her journey from Marian College to a leadership role in the corporate world reflects dedication, perseverance, and the true Marian spirit. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear. Respected Principal Ajimon Sir, Alumni President Joji Sebastian, Vice President Dario EP, Secretary Balu Krishna, Director Career and Professional Development Wing Mrs. Steffi Jose, Executive Committee members, Governing Body members, and last but not the least, the important person, esteemed resource person of the day, Twinkle Abraham. Good evening, all. Shaping your unique advantage in a competitive world. That was the topic for today. And I can see through various experiences and vast knowledge in the area, Mr. Twinkle Abraham has shared how he had uh, climbed up on the ladder of his career and how he is shaping his skills, reskill, upskill, all these things, how he did. And I'm sure our students has got the opportunity in a better way. So I would like to extend the sincere word of thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Twinkle Abraham, for sharing invaluable insights on career growth and professional advantage. Your expertise has undoubtedly enriched our understanding and equipped us with practical strategies for success. I also thank all the participants for their active engagement and enthusiasm. Your presence made this webinar a fruitful experience. Dear Principal, Alumni President, Vice President, Secretary, Career and Professional Development Wing, Executive Committee, and government body members, I extend sincere gratitude to each one of you for your support and guidance. Your collective efforts has been instrumental in making our endeavor successful. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to our institution's growth and student welfare. This is the eighth program successfully conducted by the Career and Professional Wing of MAC. I take this opportunity to congratulate them. Kudos to the team. Thank you, Ms. Ashley, for hosting this webinar today, and loads of love and gratitude to Ms. Marin, also who was my batchmate. So this is for it today. Thank you all. Good night and take care.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rani, for those kind and heartfelt words. Before we wind up, we would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the technical support that kept this event running smoothly. A sincere thanks to Mr. Sebastian Sir, a proud Marian alumnus, presently serving as the IQAC coordinator of Marian College. In addition to his professional role, he is actively involved in various business ventures and church activities. We deeply appreciate his presence, assistance, and constant support behind the scenes in making this session a success. With that, we come to the end of this inspiring and enriching webinar. A warm thank you for everyone who joined us and made this session lively. Wishing you all a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you and stay proudly Marian.
Thank you.